previously done through Al-Qaeda.
Let me ask you about Jacob Appelbaum, a volunteer for WikiLeaks, who was held at Newark Airport when he came in for a number of hours, detained and questioned. Can you explain what happened to him, what you understand happened to him?
Well, my understanding, and I haven't spoken to Jacob, however, we have some sort of, this is sort of third-hand reports, is that, yes, he was detained after coming back from the beginning. So Jacob filled in for me at a talk in New York City, and at that talk, some 6 Homeland Security persons arrived, and Jacob left and then came to Europe briefly. And on his return, he was detained at the airport and asked questions for some 3.5 hours. He was not permitted to call a lawyer or make indeed any phone call at all. His 3 phones were seized and his laptop briefly seized. The phones have not been returned, and he was asked questions about his political views on the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. He
was asked about where you are.
Yes, I've heard that report as well. My understanding is that he did not comply with those sorts of requests.
He was also approached afterwards at a DEF CON conference where he was speaking about the Tor project. What is the Tor project?
Yeah, so he taught to have some interference here on the line. The Tor project is, I'm sorry, Amy, the interference here is too bad. Can you perhaps call back? There's a cough in from something else.
Julian, we're going to go to an early break. Then we're going to come back to you. We're going to fix this line. Julian Assange is the founder and editor-chief of WikiLeaks. When we get back to him, I want to ask him about Mike Rogers, the Alabama Congress member, who says that Bradley Manning, who should be tried for releasing documents to WikiLeaks, the Afghan war documents, and if found guilty, should face death for treason. We're speaking with Julian Assange. We'll be back with him after we clear up the interference in a minute. We're speaking with Julian Assange. I'm Amy Goodman. Julian Assange is the editor-in-chief and founder of WikiLeaks. Julian, are you there? We're just trying to fix the phone line.
Yeah, it seems good now.
That's better. Let me ask you about Congressman Mike Rogers from Alabama, who said the alleged release by a soldier of documents relating to the war in Afghanistan to WikiLeaks.org constitutes treason and should be considered a capital offense. I'm reading from the Daily Press and Argus in Alabama. He hasn't been charged for the release of these documents. He's been charged with the release of other documents, though he's been called a person of interest in this. But what is your response to Congressman Mike Rogers?
We first understand that Congressman Mike Rogers is part of the Senate Intelligence Committee. So this is an individual who's
the House Intelligence Committee.
Sorry, yes, the House Intelligence Committee. So this is an individual who is meant to be overseeing the intelligence industry in the United States. So the sort of first takeaway is that this, if you like, war hawk is meant to be overseeing and holding to account the behavior of those involved in war. His call for execution, well, it's not only legally wrong, Congress has not declared war. So that option, I understand, is not available to him. Also, for an execution to occur, the president must, or the president must authorize it. Now, that doesn't mean it couldn't happen. If the political will in the United States doesn't shoot down these floating balloons that Rogers and Fusen are putting up, then we could see a shift towards finding that behavior or similar behavior acceptable. People have to shoot those statements down, otherwise they will become the new norm.
Let me ask you about something that Declan McCullough has written on CNET. He said, perhaps as a way to avoid additional legal pressure or extrajudicial punitive measures on Assange and Applebaum, a few days ago, WikiLeaks posted an intriguing 1.4 gigabyte file simply titled Insurance. It's encrypted, meaning that if visitors are sent it in advance, WikiLeaks would have to release only the key or passphrase to allow the contents to be read. Can you explain what this file is, Julian Assange?
Well, I think it's better that we don't comment on that. But, one could imagine in a similar situation that it might be worth ensuring that important parts of history do not disappear.
And just to clarify, you have released more than 91,000 documents. You say you're withholding 15,000. Does that mean you've released 76,000 or 15,000 in addition you are withholding?
Yeah, we have released 76,000 and we have 15,000 in addition that our staff are working through to make sure that informers are not named. But this particular collection is from is sort of labelled in such a way that would tend to imply that there may be innocent informers in there. There's certainly many that are not innocent, and that's an important thing to understand, that many of these informers are using special forces and other parts of the military to conduct vendettas against their political or business opponents. Others are taking bribes and framing people by coming up with outlandish allegations. It's really quite difficult to work our way through this. What do we do in the case of a governor, as an example, that has been taking bribes from the United States military? Do we and collaborating with them as a result? Is that something that is of genuine interest to the people of Afghanistan? Well, of course it is. If the governor is cooperating with a foreign occupying power as a result of them taking money. So these things are quite difficult and time-consuming to work out, and that's one of the reasons that we asked the White House and to ask ISAF, the International Security Assistance Force, to help us with the labour of going through this. We are a relatively small organisation, and the labour costs and getting through this material are very demanding. But every day that the important stories are not released is another day that justice for those people that have been killed is denied.